All right, y'all, let's get into part 2 on the dollar, the BRICs, the flood, the currency, the bankruptcy of America, socialism, and tie in some things together in the future America and the coming of the end of the old America, okay? So we see some things aligning. The first banking crisis happened on around March 11th. The dates on Google that I can find is from 310 to 312, okay? So we see the second banking crisis on 11/3, and this is when the banks aren't getting their deposits for the employees. And as of today, on Tuesday, after, they still have not gotten them. This can lead to a compound effect. If you don't get your payment for work, you can't pay your bills. Okay? Can't pay your bills, then you got to live rent-free or get your whatever stuff is going to take place, okay? Or it can be to where it's put behind or however they go. But basically, my wife's done a little bit of research on the bank, but the bank who needs the deposit is getting the deposit from a bank that owns that bank. So basically, the bank is not paying itself, or the bank's not paying the bank, all right? So at any point in time, the banks can just close down. And we see Saudi Arabia, they've made the announcement they're a major key because of the oil. All right. And we have Iran and all these things lining up in the war over there. And once the dollar comes back, let's talk about the dollar coming back. Because those who have borrowed against the system, what does that mean? Well, the more credit you have, as far as borrowing, okay? If you have 10 credit cards and they're all maxed out, that's going to be more against you. If you have a house payment, going to be against you. If you have car payment, if you have a school loan, any of these types of things, they're going to work against you. And we already, each one of us owe what, $87,000 or whatever, somewhere around there per person for the national debt. All right, so the people who are retired or the people who have millions or billions of dollars in the banks that are not invested in the future in different ways, okay? They are going to be taken out. And the Bitcoin is tied to that old way. It's an old brick, okay? Bitcoin may be used in the future, but short term, when the dollar goes down and all those types of things, and China doesn't use Bitcoin, it's gonna go with the dollar in a matter of speaking. All right, it's sure as hell not going to be what it is today. So, as all these trillions of dollars are coming back, okay, we have all this debt to all these nations that we've robbed and pillaged, all this debt that we've taken from the kids, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren, and so on for many generations, that the boomers and the generations before them and the Generation X and some of the millennial generation, all this generation up to a certain point has borrowed against the system, has bought and sold the old way and all those other things. And we can see a new America forming in a way. But as the new America forms, the old America comes to a test. So we can't let the things out there make us think that's how the future's going to be. Okay? Because there is a constant. And this constant is what brings about the test in one shape or form. So, either way, folks, so as the money comes back, okay, everybody has their debt. The people who are under retirement, they have all theirs, okay? So, as all this thing comes back, and it's going to be redistributed. So the less you owe, or the less you have, or any of those types of things, the more you're going to be given. Okay? So this is the great equalizer. And I could see how everybody is given whatever they have at that moment. And the everything around you, as far you're going to get food and such, and maybe by drones, they can work in that kind of thing. But the things that are in your city, it's going to be kind of like Cuba, and that's going to be what you work with. Or that's in America. The shipping and all these things is tied to the dollar, that we buy with the dollar. Because what happens now, or what happened before these things are taking place, but the countries have to trade their currency in for our dollar to do the dollar exchange with the oil and such. Okay? And everybody needs oil. So what we use oil for now, oil will always be there in a matter of speaking, but we're not going to be using it to driving cars. We're going to go to clean energy. This is where we've seen things line up. I was a kid. I remember seeing a car ran on water. Okay? And all of a sudden, you heard about this for like a couple weeks, and then it just went missing. So there's other fuel sources. They can also put wind turbine technology maybe on the front axle of the car and put the drivetrain on the back of the car so the car charges itself as it goes. And put solar panels as supplementals and those things, so where we never have to charge a car at all. Okay? It's very easy. Or this is going to go in my other videos. They're going to make cars to where you drive from one city to another city and then you get a fresh charged car. Okay, it's pretty freaking simple. But you're not going to own cars. All right? I'll save it for the other video. Okay, so as everything is coming back, everything's going to be equalized. That great jubilee, that jubilee ties into the generally and all these things. But as the stuff comes back, the people who live carnally and the things of this world or whatever, they're going to rise up because they're going to want their new shit or whatever, when it's all just the same shit brought to you in a different light. It's all, either way, y'all. So, and also that's why we can see, well, that's a whole nother thing too. That's with the 3D printing, and we see different technologies with strength of metals and stuff being created, and AI has been developing different things with that spectrum. Either way. So as the great equalizer comes in, the money is redistributed, and the more you have per se, the less you're going to get. And the less you have, the more you're going to get. So this is where we could see the homeless people getting houses. And we see these things setting up to where these super rich people are coming up and buying hotels or buying deserted cities or whatever, and they're redoing them, and they're going to bring and give these people what they need or whatever, because we're going into a time where Jesus rules. And how this is Jesus is us, and we're returning into that one body, and we can see things going on in this nation and what's wrong with this nation. And the people who have the heart and the money or whatever, they know they don't need those millions or billions or trillions or whatever dollars they have. So they're going to take it this here and take it and redo it and redo the earth in another way. Okay, so there's going to be like a Jetson side and a Terminator side, and the Terminator side is short term in a matter of speaking, and it's there to bring in the last bit of beast. All right, so this is where you're playing video games, and you got to go in with a robot or with a drone, and you got to take out the beastmen and whatever else kind of thing, because they've taking the bio warfare, and you got to go and take them out. So this is kind of like another antichrist spirit coming out, because Jesus has to come on and judge earth. And as he's doing that, we have to have that serpent and dove mindset. We have to come together. Okay, that's where you get the dragon and the tiger coming together. All right, that's where you get. You don't go to battle. You wait for the battle to come to you. Okay, but unfortunately, our nation and shit, the nation of the Baal worship, the ones under the law, the Christians and such, it's a nation of war, and a nation of division, and a nation of separation. And they're going to rise up. And when they rise up as the Antichrist against men, then it may take the time where the Jesus men have to rise up and take care of the satanic man. Okay? So there's different dualities going on here. In order to love one, we may have to hurt another. If we hurt another, we may help one. So love is hate and hate is love. There's weird things going on here. And the good and the bad, the right and wrong, it's all being tested. And no one is right under the law. And in times, the right does become wrong. The wrong does become right. And this is there to create that clash. And as it creates that clash, the light and dark come together in the darkness, and it has that Big Bang theory. And as it collides, it creates new light and new rules of darkness. Okay? And those rules of darkness is what controls man. Okay? There's nothing wrong, at least in the old system, with some of the laws. We need some laws and structure. But it's when the laws and structure gets ran away with, or when we start locking people up in cages, or when we start saying you can't do this, that, or the other in your own household. Yeah, I understand maybe out there on the street where everybody's together. But when they start taking those street laws and putting them into these things, or they start telling you that you can't drive without a seat belt, or you need a helmet, or whatever, okay? It's up to each one of us to look out for ourselves. It's not for the government to be our baby, okay? So there's different things coming on, and as one brings in bondage, one is going to give freedom, okay? So we can't be scared of the things that we're told, of the scary side, because that's not going to be on the new heaven and earth. That's kind of like what they're doing is they're telling you kind of in a mirror and a soft example of what's going to be happening in the little horn area and the great tribulation area and those types of areas. So that's where the hard vision comes in, is that great tribulation time frame. And we see the Lord's wrath now, the second coming of the Lord. Adon means the Lord. So we see that man being taken to the cross and the war starting, and now he's got his testify, okay? So all these things are lining up, and I would expect the same weekend that he testified, just like the same weekend that the trial started, that we have another major event, which can be tied to the money or homeland stuff or whatever, okay? They've already been working in the Hamas and the border and whatever, so it's just they just got to turn on the switch. Okay, but as the Lord's wrath plays out, you're going to have the great tribulation unfold. And as the great tribulation unfolds, that's when the people are going to realize that they're actually in the tribulation, but it all happened in a different way than what they're talking about. And they're going to have somebody come back and tell them. And that's what I'm for. All y'all got to do is go back and listen. It's your choice to be left behind. We'll end it here.